In this video, we are going to continue the features of the operating system, and now we are going to talk about the resource allocation. Resource allocation means allowing processes to use resources. So, programs running on computer are broken up into processes. That means the program is made up of many different processes, and these processes need resources in order to work. So for example, if the process is printing, then the printer is the resource, which means that the operating system must allocate this printer in order for the program to use it. Each process needs different types of resources to run. Now, let's together look at this example in order to understand better. This is a program that has been broken up to different processes, process 1, process 2, until process n. And as you can see, each process needs a resource. Process 1 needs resource 1 and 2, process 2 needs resource 2, and process n needs resource 3. So, some processes may need more than one resource, like process 1, it needs resource 1 and resource 2. And as you can see, resource 2 is shared between process 1 and process 2. And this causes problems. And the operating system usually solves this problem. And now let's continue. The OS manages the use of shared resources on the computer. For example, a printer. The OS will place the jobs into an orderly queue and will control the way in which the output gets to the printer. Okay, so what does that mean? I have a common resource, which is the printer, and there are 3 processes that want to use the printer. That means my printer is a shared resource shared by process 1, 2, and 3. As we previously said, there is no communication between the application software and the hardware, so the operating system connects them. So, process 1, 2, 3 cannot communicate directly with the printer. The operating system will take the tasks from process 1, 2, 3 and communicate with the printer, which is the hardware. So now, the operating system will order these processes into a queue, so they will stand in line. And the operating system arranges them in the way that it sees fit. For example, it may order them in the way it received them. So process 1, then process 2, then process 3. And any other process that arrives will be in the queue. So the operating system will allocate the printer depending on how the processes are set in the queue. That means process 1 will use the printer, and then process 2, and then finally process 3. So in this example, we saw how the operating system allocated a resource to 3 different processes. Furthermore, the OS controls communications between the various devices that make up the computer system. So even the hardware cannot communicate together without the operating system. So, for example, when I move the mouse and then the cursor or the pointer on the monitor moves, this is due to the operating system. It is allowing for the communication between the mouse and the monitor. So everything is managed by the operating system. And now let's move to another point. On a PC, which is the personal computer, the OS will handle resource allocation during multitasking. And what is multitasking? It is when one user is using more than one piece of software at a time. So they are using different softwares at the same time. For example, when a user is running Word and Excel at the same time. So the management of these softwares is done by the operating system. And that is known as multitasking.